Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2, Lady in Threads. I'm Old Man.
And I'm the skinny guy.
If you didn't guess, that was me doing a terrible impression of Skinny Guy. Skinny Guy was not available to be here to do this intro with me due to real life, but I can feel his presence. He is here in spirit, believing in all of us. We interviewed Shannon Fidler. She has extensive experience in cosplay and LARPing and convention going, and we talk about basically her personal experiences. We just wanted to very briefly, as we get moving forward, want to, as always, thank our patrons for supporting what we're doing. We have 2 new patrons. Our first patron is Kevin Mahoney at the $5 level. That makes him slightly more righteous and kind of awesome. He supported us when we kicked off episode 1, so thank you, Kevin, for your support. And our second new patron is Mike Smith. Mike Smith is amazing, on the edge of brilliant, coming in at the $10 level. Thank you so much, Mike. And because of the support of our patrons, we actually hit our first goal, which means that now we have unlimited space and unlimited bandwidth on our website, so we can keep doing this for as long as we can. So thank you so much to all of our patrons, and Kevin and Mike, welcome aboard, and thank you so much. As always, patrons get all of the content earlier, at least a week earlier than when we actually drop everything to the public, as well as access to other content. We'll have behind-the-scenes pictures because we do photo shoots after our interviews, as well as some other nifty things. Patrons always get those first and sometimes exclusively. If you're interested in becoming a patron and getting all of those things, you can find us at patreon.com/oldmanskinnyguy. We also want to remind everybody about Skinny Guy's bulletin board. If you go to our website, which is oldmanskinnyguy.wordpress.com, you will find Skinny Guy's bulletin board. That is where you can let us know about games that you think other people should be playing, events in your area that you think other people should be playing, or trying to get people together in your area for, or whatever you'd like to talk with us about and let us know about that maybe we can discuss on the show. That is your avenue. You can anyone can go there and put that information in and let us know what's going on, and that's kind of how we'll be able to talk to each other and address certain things on the show. So please don't forget to go into Skinny Guy's bulletin board. We'll pick some of those things that are posted to us and talk about them here on the show. If it's an event or something like that, we will also mention it here on the show. Speaking of Skinny Guy's bulletin board, off the bulletin board this week, we have something that we're very passionate about. Skinny Guy and I are both big fans of the movie Big Trouble in Little China. I hope that you are as well. We find a new game that's actually coming out soon. It's called, obviously, the Big Trouble in Little China game. If you go to the website bigtroublegame.com, you will actually find they're taking pre-orders for this game right now. It is a beautiful looking board game. I mean, no one that I've known that I know has played it yet, but to just kind of give you an idea of how big this game is. The core game itself, it has a double-sided game board, a quest book with 15 detailed story quests, 40 highly detailed miniatures, and those miniatures, I mean, it's not only like the main characters of the movie, like Jack Burton and Egg Chen and Lo Pan, but you have also like the Wing Kong and the Chang Sings. It's really freaking cool. 38 custom molded dice, 6 hero character boards, 168 cards, 5 boss boards, fate track, dozens of tokens and plastic, and you can also order the deluxe limited edition, which includes more quests, more cards, upgrades, more dice. You can add a 5th and a 6th player, and I don't know what an alternate low pan boss board is, but that sounds pretty fucking cool. So we really would like for you guys to check out BigTroubleGame.com. Check it out. Take a look at it. If this is something that's up your alley, go for it. Buy it. Let us know about the game, and we'll talk about it here on the show. If you're fans of the movie, this looks amazing. Please go ahead and check them out. So with that, again, we hope you enjoy episode 2, Lady in Threads. Like honestly, like this is our soft start.
Yeah, no, obviously, but now we have to actually start.
No, we started. We're done. We started.
We got to do the intro.
We're intro. Hi, I'm Old Man.
No, fuck you. This time I'm going to stare at you. Didn't we have a whole discussion? We're just going to make a standard intro.
Dude, go for it, man. Go for it.
Is it the whole? Did we spend like an hour talking about exactly this?
A whole fucking hour, man. That's like, I know how valuable that time is, but yeah, a whole hour. All right, so you do your thing, man. I'm here for you.
All right, you're not just going to stonewall me this time?
No, I'm here for you, man.
All right, hi everyone. This is Old Man Skinny Guy.
I'm Old Man.
I'm the Skinny Guy, and today with us we've got Shannon, and we're going to be talking about a variety of topics, but mostly her experiences in the nerd community with a female perspective, shockingly.
Yes, shockingly, as she is female.
I had noticed.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So, why don't we just start off sort of the same that the old man and I did. We gave a little bit of like our sort of nerd history and how we fell into sort of the gaming community. Where did you actually get your start?
So it all started a long time ago with an anime called Cardcaptor Sakura.
Okay.
I became what everyone refers to as a weeaboo at a very young age, following Pokemon, then Yu-Gi-Oh!, and then a bunch of other animes.
I was a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan.
I have over 2,000 cards, no doubles.
I gave most of my cards to Sarah, my oldest, and I don't know if she still has them, but yeah, I had a good number of cards.
We talked to her about it not too long ago.
Yeah, I think she might. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like in my main collection, I have about a little over 2,000 cards that don't have any doubles. I go through them once or twice a year and pull out all the doubles, and I have a binder full of doubles that's around like 400, 500 cards.
Do you have like the big arm thing?
I don't have Obelisk the Tormentor.
No, okay. No, not the card. The actual.
Oh, yeah. So you can like ride a motorcycle and also play Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh, one of those.
Yes.
One of those arm things. I don't have one of the arm things.
Okay, all right. So now I know what your Christmas gift is.
Yeah, right. Damn it. Beat me to it.
Sorry. I was like, well, you should. I'll let you get it for her, and then I'll figure out something else. Like, yeah. I'll get you like the blackballed illegal version of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that they sell in New York City.
Yeah, those are all shiny.
Yeah,
I have like 3 of them.
Damn it! Now I got to figure out something else to get you.
Yeah, someone gave me a gigantic stack. I'm like, all of these are like counterfeits.
Yeah, all counterfeit, all of them.
Yeah, that's a whole other weird topic that is like a real thing.
Oh, counterfeit gaming?
Counterfeit gaming cards and like Magic cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I mean, any collectible, really.
Right.
That's just so bizarre to me.
But like, I
once at an F&M had someone tell me like how you can check cards.
Yeah. I've yet to see the counterfeit Cards Against Humanity cards. Like that's
is that a thing?
I don't know, but it should be. And if it isn't, I'll probably make it.
I was gonna say if it isn't, well, it is now.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean,
now.
they give out blank cards that you can write your own stuff on.
Well, yeah, but you want to make
those are legitimate. Those are sanctioned.
Yeah.
No fair.
Oh, you know what might actually be the counterfeit Cards Against Humanity? Isn't there a game called Crabs Against Humanity?
If you say so. Honestly, I don't know.
Oh, there's something like it's Crabs Against something that it's meant to just sound exactly like it. It's the same premise, except
it's also probably by the same company.
I don't think
knowing that company.
I don't think. I mean, who knows? Like, clearly, we have a lot of information on.
All right,
this
so we obviously did not do our research about Crabs Against Humanity, so that's something that we'll have to discuss at a later time, and do our research on.
So.
But yeah, so besides,
I'm sorry, yeah, you were
besides Yu-Gi-Oh and anime and things like that, where did you go from there?
From there, I started to cosplay. I was online one day just searching through everything, and I found pictures of people in costumes, as I was on one of my anime searches for different things. And I saw people dressed up in some of my favorite, anime characters. Like, oh, what is this? And I emailed the webmistress. I'm like, oh, can you tell me more about this? And she's like, oh, yeah, this specific convention is called Otakon. It's once a year down in Maryland. I'm like, oh, this sounds like a lot of fun. So I bugged my parents for 2 years before they took me to my first convention in 2006.
Was it like, please, 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 please? It's just like over and over
Yes.
again? Okay, good. That's the perfect strategy. I can tell you that from experience.
From being on the other side of it?
Oh, yes.
So we went down the first time, and I was just marveled by everything. I was afraid to talk to some cosplayers. I'm like, they look so much like the characters. Oh, I'm so nervous to talk to these people. And I actually met a few really good friends through cosplaying my first time there. My one friend Nissa, for example, she was cosplaying as Shino. And I walk over to her to ask for a picture, and she's asleep.
Who that character is.
It's from Naruto. Shino Aburame.
You're looking at me like I can give
that
you.
I've never watched that.
One day I'll watch it.
No,
Anyway.
I'm not watching 500 episodes.
But you're looking at me like I can give you some context for this,
dude.
No,
you just rolled with it. Like you knew exactly what's going on.
Well, I can talk or actually stare a good game, and
Just stare and nod.
Yeah, so I'm here to call you out, is what you're telling me.
Sure, let's go with that.
But yeah, I walk over to her, and here she had been asleep, because Shino has these glasses, and you can't really see behind him. But yeah, that was really fun. I met her. I met my friend Darren, who I still talk to this day. He's super awesome. And yeah, and my one friend Sean as well is a cosplayer. Everyone that I've really met, besides the elitist cosplayers, have been super amazing.
Wait. Let's back up a little. What do you mean by elitist cosplayers? I gotta hear this.
They're the ones that believe that they are much better than everyone else.
Okay, so just like elitist anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I thought there was they only buy fabric from this place.
They come in by helicopter.
Right,
I mean, there's probably some people like that, but there's these people that have really nice looking outfits, but they think that their, I guess, nerd cred is higher than everyone else's.
So
okay.
I know that you're a big fan of Oran.
Or in high school, yes.
So it's you could probably explain it better than I can, but it's like an anime set in a private school, and it follows the host club.
Okay.
And needless to say, it's everyone except for the main character are ludicrously wealthy in this school.
Okay.
And I once saw a photo of a bunch of cosplayers arriving to a cosplay convention that was clearly taken out of the window of the hotel, and it's just captioned, "These Oran cosplayers are taking it to the next level." They're in the school uniform for the show, dressed up as the characters,
Right.
getting out of a stretch limousine.
That's perfect.
Okay.
I was like,
all right. If that's for the cosplay, and
Dude,
that's
obviously
That's-
it was too.
all right,
It was
okay.
just that's really funny that they went that far. It's
Right.
like when you see pictures of people that are dressed up as the Mysteries Inc. Scooby Doo gang standing in front of the Mystery Machine,
Right, right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So do you make your own costumes? Because I know your mother also sews.
Yes. So originally, for most of my very first outfits, my mom sewed, because I barely ever touch a sewing machine except for in school when we had to do home ec. So I had no idea what I was doing, and my mom had sewed before. So she taught me how to sew. She sewed the first 4 or 5 cosplays of mine. I like to do more of the fabrication stuff and the painting and putting those finishing touches on, as well as any kind of prosthetic-y things and whatnot.
Right.
And wigs. I love doing wigs.
Yeah, you have a collection of wigs.
Oh, yes.
Okay. How many would you say that you actually have?
Oh my gosh.
Roundabout, this is not a test. I'm not, we're not going to raid your closet and just be like, you were wrong.
Also, you're talking to the internet, so the thousands of voices out there, or 4, however many are actually listening to this. Some portion of them are just going to be like, that's
All right.
not that many.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
I have
all
9
right.
or 10, I would say.
Kevin, the one guy who's listening to our podcast right now, he's saying he really wants to know how many.
I would say about 9 or 10 wigs.
Okay.
And they're all of really decent quality. The first time that I ever did anything with a wig was Shiva from Final Fantasy X. And she has 11, because I counted them, very large dreadlocks. And when I first read the like a tutorial on how to make it. You need 2 wigs plus a bunch of extensions. Like, I can get by with just 1 wig, and I got like one of the cheapest wigs that you could find, and it was awful. That wig weighed like 25 pounds, and it didn't look that good. It would have looked much better with another wig on top of it.
So it was like wearing a baby on your head.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because isn't it like a truism among cosplayers that like you dress as the character however the character looks, and that probably more often than not doesn't mean functional pockets.
Mm-hmm.
That's
You know, so like
And also
wearing,
going to the bathroom.
Yeah, wearing those costumes can be very cumbersome. Because I know from my time just having costumes for LARP games, where these are costumes that I like chose what I was going to wear and figured out what it was going to look like. Yeah, I had people help me make them or whatever. But I just remember like, oh, I don't have enough pockets. Like, I need pouches. I need a utility belt effectively to be able to just function as a human being.
Yeah, that's I think that's true of a lot of costuming. Is you're looking for aesthetic first and then functionality second,
Yeah,
maybe.
that has changed for me over the years.
Oh well, as LARPers, you tend to be like,
LARPing's
no,
different.
I need to carry my shit around.
I've gone from having characters that I had to either arrange my situation of packs and whatnot else to sit down, or like remove them or what have you, that there was like a suit up element to just get in a chair that I will not do anymore.
You see, for cosplay, though, it's basically like a glorified photo shoot. Whereas LARP, you need functionality for running around being crazy, falling in the mud, running through the woods. Whereas you're just like, oh, I'm cosplaying, I'm at a convention, I'm going to stand here for the next 5 hours posing.
That's very much like also folks who dress up for Renaissance fairs. They don't really dress for functionality or carrying shit around.
Yeah, you can get away with more at a Ren fair than you can at, say, like a LARP or a cosplay.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're sort of, I would imagine, more of the middle ground, or at least that's my experience when I go and I dress up in my silly, couch.
Right. Yeah. By couch, you mean the vest that looks like you actually cut up someone's couch, your grandma's couch.
The upholstery doublet, that is way too hot for the summertime, even though I think I can wear it in the summertime every time.
Gotcha. So Kevin, she has 9 wigs. And in a future episode, we will be raiding her closet to make sure that
is
actually
purely
correct.
audio format.
Yes, purely audio.
So you also alluded to LARPing, and we started talking a little bit about that. I know that's where we first met you.
Yes. Originally, I was over at my friend Nathan's house for his birthday, and his friends and his brother's friends set up a LARP for his 16th birthday party. He invited me over. It was a great time. It was about 3 hours or so.
What kind of LARP?
It was just like a thrown together little like fantasy game. I played a rogue for the first time. Surprise, surprise. But
it became a theme.
Yes. So eventually, about a year down the line, the same guys who set up the birthday party came into my work, and they're like, "Oh, come over and try this out with us. Try this game. You're gonna love it." I'm like, okay, it sounds a little bit cheesy. I've never done anything like this before. I'm like, I'll go to one game. Get everything around, sew up a costume, go out for the very first time. I was wearing a quote-unquote kimono, which was basically just a bathrobe. And have fun.
A classic.
And have fun for the entire weekend. And then I've been doing it since 2009.
If we ever convince friend of ours, Sam, to come on here, we will have to have him talk about the fact that the first time that I ever saw him in a LARP costume, it was literally a bathrobe.
Nice. If I would have known a bathrobe was the way that I could go, I wouldn't have started with my elaborate costuming. Well, I would have started with the bathrobe.
At least when I met you, games that we were involved in, or the game that we met at, was definitely on the rise as far as what it was trying to do as far as player costuming. They were very much encouraging a certain type of aesthetic, a certain level of quality. If you couldn't meet that, there was no stigma to it, but it was absolutely like, oh yeah, we really, isn't that great? Let's, celebrate that person for all the work that they did. Or
don't get me wrong. Like, I would not just, like, for example, like if I went to a new LARP, I wouldn't just wear the bathrobe and be like, hey, look at me, I'm warrior guy wearing bathrobe. No, I would go in.
Unless it's a Lebowski LARP.
Well, exactly, yeah.
I was going to say that.
Right, no, but that's what I'm saying. If I went in wearing the bathrobe, that is a key component to whatever character I'm playing. There is a reason for the bathrobe. Much like the character I played at Doomsday, where I had towels on me, and I threw towels because I was a fop. oh, and I throw toil up somebody.
Have we actually ever mentioned what Doomsday is yet?
No, actually we haven't.
Yeah, Doomsday is a science fiction LARP in our area that's run by a friend of ours.
Right, so it runs out of Hamburg, Pennsylvania.
Correct.
So, but yeah, I would wear the bathrobe as a key part of my character, whatever I was playing. I wouldn't do that. I do have a respect for the games that I'm going to, even if I'm still like not 100% sure like what I want to play. I still want to be comfortable, and a bathrobe, for a whole weekend sounds really fucking comfortable to me.
So Lebowski LARP. Got it.
Yes.
Trying to bring this back around to, your experience with cosplaying and what we were just sort of talking about with LARPing. Did you ever have a moment like where you said you first went and you had a costume thrown together and you were just wowed by other people? Did you ever have an experience where like that helped you get to know people, or what was that community like for you when you first got involved? Was it welcoming? Were they very helpful? Or
most of the people that I met during my first time cosplaying, because I'm a very introverted person, I'm very kind of shy. I don't really put myself out there. But everyone that I did come across, my first time, going, and also the many years that I went afterwards, everyone was super welcoming and awesome. We would stand there, we'd talk about, our similar interests. Like, for example, my friend Darren would always cosplay Moroku, and that's how I really got to meet him, because Moroku's one of my favorite characters from Inuyasha. We just would talk about that. We talk about other different kinds of anime. I moved to New Jersey. We got to hang out a bit more there, because he lived in New Jersey as well. My friend Nissa is freaking amazing. She's an artist. She sells her stuff on Etsy, and just seeing all of her works, which is a small world. I was going through DeviantArt one time, which is a art website, and I found this one picture that I really liked, and I saved it. And here, that was one of her works of art, and I didn't know it until like 3 years after I saved it.
You didn't know that a random person on the internet had also...
That would become one of my friends? No.
Yeah. That's really good. Cool. Dude, it's a tiny, tiny world out there.
It is a very small world when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, you realize that, like, oh, you know this person, I know that person.
Everything comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more you get involved, the more you realize, like, oh, we're not really so far off from one another.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like, Skinny Guy and I went to a convention, and I did a little bit of cosplay, which will go back to the whole not having functional pockets, where he basically carried everything for me when people would stop me for photos.
I was not in cosplay.
So he was your roadie. The whole
pretty
time.
much.
Yeah.
I had the backpack.
Everything go in the backpack.
That was my job. We started out that day. It's like, I'm bringing a backpack.
Yeah.
I got this.
Everyone needs one of those.
Yes.
It's pretty great. But yeah, like, you guys who experienced a little bit of the community as well. Like, when we met that Rose Quartz cosplayer that I got a bunch of photos with.
Yep.
And they were super amazing. And I found them on Instagram, and they're super amazing.
And this was where?
That was Zenkaikon in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So that was actually... So I've been to one anime convention prior to that, but that was my first... Because that's just a cosplay convention, correct?
It's an anime convention. They have different,
I suppose we did go to a
videos
Pokemon panel while we were there
games.
and things like that, about like mythology and Pokemon and where it all came from.
Okay.
It was really cool to go to an event that was... Because at the anime convention that I'd gone to years ago, a lot of cosplayers were there, but like I had no touchstone to the cosplay community at that point, and I was just like, oh yeah, they're dressed up as characters, they seem to be having fun, good for them.
Right.
But when I went to this, obviously I went with Shannon, and you had your Pearl cosplay from Steven Universe. And we're walking through, and obviously you and I are both fans of Steven Universe, Shannon. And anyone that is familiar with Steven Universe, you might remember an episode where Steven becomes involved in a local amateur wrestling promotion.
You've told me this story before.
One of the first cosplays we saw as we walked into the convention center and are looking for registration, Tiger Millionaire himself came walking the other direction. And I could not help but call out, Tiger Millionaire, you're the best.
And he gave you a thumbs up, I believe.
Yeah, it was great. It was, there was a lot of really fun interactions. Just and I wasn't in costume.
Right.
There was a minority of people that were at the convention that were not in some level of costuming, or I mean, I'm sure I had some kind of nerd shirt on that day. You had a full-on cosplay as Pearl from Steven Universe with colored contacts in, which really seemed to catch a lot of people's attention.
Yes.
And then going to the Small World thing for a second, there was another Pearl cosplayer that you got some photos with that, old man, your son ran into and was like apparently knew her.
She actually worked at a store close to where we live.
Yeah.
And he recognized her from your photos. And he was like, hey, I have a friend who, and they got to talking, and turns out it was absolutely this woman that you actually took
And I
pictures
messaged her on Instagram, and we talked a little bit about possibly hanging out in the future.
Yeah, you make friends.
Yeah.
But like that, you had to go. How far away is Lancaster from us? Like an hour and change, or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's about 2 hours or so.
From me being very reserved and introverted, cosplay and LARPing helped me come out of that shell a little bit, because I know everyone around me has similar interests.
Right.
Like, that was one of my first real experiences, really getting to meet strangers, was at conventions. And everyone was very, helpful and very nice to me. I mean, there's been a few incidences here and there that I'd rather not remember, but they are very few as to the very many good experience I've had.
Yeah, the positive experiences outweigh the negative ones, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything is going to have some measure of crap to it.
Yeah, yeah. But no, that's good, because that's really good for someone to hear who might be in a similar situation where they're kind of introverted and like, I'm not sure if I should do this or if I should do that. And it's always good to know that, there's a welcoming community there of people who will say, hey, you're trying to cosplay this. Here, let me help you. Here's some costuming. Or here's a place where you can go get some great costuming. Or let me give you some tips. Here's my number. Here's my Instagram. Here's my Facebook,
It's really actually kind of interesting, because I also, I know that we've talked about this. I don't know that it's actually made it into the podcast or not yet. When I first went to the very first LARP game I went to, there's a whole situation where there's a bunch of us, all going to play Rangers, and I decided, well, maybe this is an excuse for me to...
Yeah, that's actually episode 1.
Is that in episode 1? Okay, I wasn't sure if that was one of the ones that we actually recorded. But yeah, going and just deciding to play a musical character, to get up in front of people and sing, and to put myself in that situation, it sounds very similar to what you're describing with cosplay, that it gave you sort of a venue, that it was a environment for that. You can put yourself out there in sort of like a safe, sort of confined, set of rules or what have you.
Right. I have a question for you. So you're an introverted person. You start cosplaying. That leads to LARPing and all of that good stuff. Now, when you're actually, whether you're cosplaying or you're actually playing a character, when you do that, I'm curious, because I know how I do it, and I'll say how I do it. But are you actually... within your character, within your cosplay, are you trying to explore an aspect of yourself that you haven't before, or are you just kind of like, this is freeing because I'm just not me today, I'm somebody else? Like what kind of mindset are you in when you do something like that?
When I go out for cosplaying, it's just going out and be like, oh, I'm gonna show off like what I've done, meet people that like the same things that I do. But for LARPing, however, it is exploring different parts of myself. Like, I've actually sat down and talked with a few people about this in New York, our characters and what they represent of us. What you want to be, what you think that you could be in the future, or like, I want to explore more of this, that I just kind of like push away because it's not really me.
Yeah, I definitely have had and this opinion changes over time and over experience, but I think for the most part I've sort of settled on a lot of what I feel that I see in other people that roleplay, or they're highlighting some aspect of their personality, or at least of the way that they think about the world. It might be the nicest guy on earth in real life playing the worst evil villain that you can ever conceive, just because they can figure that out, because I would never do any of this.
Right, and that's kind of where I was getting at, because some of the characters that I've played are specifically aspects of myself that are like I wish I could be, or that I've never explored before. So I was like, hey, this is a safe environment for me to kind of play test being a villain, or or
coming soon, old man,
the villain. Or possibly like one of my favorite characters that I played, the Bedouin merchant Zahir, where I just kind of sat around and didn't do a goddamn thing except smoke hookah and make money. It's like, yeah, this is something I can never do in real life, so let me do this.
Like,
It's like, come on. It's like, really.
Don't sell yourself short.
I
believe in you.
And look, if I could sit in my house and smoke hookah and have money coming in without just me doing anything, yeah, absolutely.
No. You have to put an elaborate tent up in a very public place, and then just people will flock to you for some reason.
Well, yeah, for some reason, yeah. But I'm sorry.
This is sometimes called a cult.
The cult of old man.
so one of my best
Very short-lived cult.
Well, our motto is get off my lawn.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, you were going to say?
But yes, one of my examples for that is the one that you guys kind of best know me for is Scarlet from the game Doomsday, where Scarlet just kind of sits around, doesn't do anything, doesn't care to do anything, doesn't really give a crap about anything, whereas Shannon cares a lot about a lot of things. So it's kind of just nice to go out there and be like, screw you guys can all do that. I'm going to stay right here doing what I'm doing, sitting in this nice comfy chair and eating snacks.
The rest of you can go out into the sleet. I'll be here.
Yes. Have fun storming the castle.
I have my big giant fluffy coat on with my giant like fur hood, being miserable during the wintertime and wearing my pretty dresses during the summertime.
There you go.
So you were you sort of glossed over it when you were coming to your point about how you embody LARP characters. And you said something to the effect of when you're cosplaying, it's more about showing off what you've done, and but I also remembered going to that convention with you and seeing some of the photos that you took with people, and there was photos where it was just a family would walk up and a little kid dressed as Dipper from Gravity Falls would be super excited and talk to you as though you were Pearl. And you played along. It was a very nice little interaction. The parents thanked you.
They were just a Steven.
Wasn't there?
There was a really good Dipper, but the little kid was Steven.
Oh, okay. I'm mixing. He might be the old man, but Skinny Guy has the worst memory.
Well, I'm taking both of you at your word for the things that you're talking about, because I know that there is a show called Steven Universe and that it does exist. I have not watched many of the episodes. I tried one or two, did not find it to my old man liking, but that's just me. I'm taking you guys at your word of what you're talking about.
Yeah, but also besides, that was sort of an exceptional interaction. It was not per the norm of the interactions you had that day. A lot of people just came up and said, "Oh, can I take a picture with you?" But then if they were another character from Steven Universe, a lot of times the two of you would take 3 seconds and work out a pose.
Like me and the Rose Quartz, for example.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
What happened with that?
So the two characters, Rose Quartz and Pearl, Pearl had very strong feelings of love for Rose Quartz. Pearl was Rose's knight, essentially. And the pose was, Rose was standing there looking down at me, and I was like on my knee looking up at her, holding her hand. So
like a marriage proposal kind of
sort of. We had people congratulate us, by the way, when we did that pose.
Yeah, it was. It was very reminiscent of that, but also in sort of like the kneeling before your liege kind of pose.
Okay.
But with
Gotcha.
the look that suggested something more.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was a cool photo. Perhaps we will be able to find it and post it up.
Yeah, maybe we can put it on the website.
I have it.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Even when you go into moments like that, you don't ever think about the character when you're cosplaying?
Like for some of the poses.
Or real fast, is that a thing? Do some cosplayers, do they role play?
Oh, yes. There's even small LARPs at different conventions.
Yeah, so that I knew about, but I didn't know if people just walked around the convention embodying the characters.
Some people do. It depends how much they're into it. For example, with me and the Rose Quartz, some character thought went into that. What would Pearl and Rose do for photo poses?
But that's more of an exercise of how much you like the show and trying to represent it. And,
yeah.
Okay, that's really cool.
I know exactly that mindset because, for many years I would go to the Greenwich Village Halloween parade, and I would be dressed up as my doctor character.
Real fast, I want to take a firm, hard stand. I think dressing up for Halloween is costume playing.
Yeah,
that's all cosplay means.
No, it absolutely is.
Go on.
But that's the thing. Is I never thought of it in that way for many years until I heard the word cosplay and everything. But I would absolutely be that person all day and all night Whereas, I'm in, full makeup and character. I remember one year I was playing that character, and it was right after Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull came out, and it was also right after the South Park episode.
I've never heard of this movie. It's almost as though it doesn't exist.
I tend to agree with you, but it was also after the South Park episode that made fun of Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, where it was about Steven Spielberg and George Lucas fucking over Harrison Ford. So every time I would see someone dressed as Indiana Jones, I would ask them how did they like getting butt fucked by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. And occasionally, I would have, some people would be like, hey, what are you talking about? No, they used lube. It was cool. But some
they knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, but some people,
what you were referencing.
Some people got very upset. But I was just that character. I was just not giving a shit the whole time. That's not something Chris would do, old man. At that whole time, I wouldn't have done that. But in costume, I can do that.
Hey, old man, can you one day cosplay as Harry Dresden?
Yeah, I could do that. I'm halfway there already. I'm crotchety. I'm angry all the time.
I'm pretty sure you own a duster.
I own a duster.
It'd be really cool to do makeup on your arm.
Yeah, that should be cool. I could do that.
So just you're talking about that experience going up to random strangers, and like having them react. So I know you guys know this story, but I'll say it for the podcast's sake. I was totally not at any sort of role-playing or, character-based anything. I went to a beer festival with some of my friends, and Shannon had gotten me a Rick and Morty t-shirt from, T-Fury or something like that. And it's Rick and Morty dressed up as Bill and Ted, and it says Swifty.
I love that shirt. That is such a great shirt.
So I'm wearing that shirt at the beer festival, and we're just walking around. I'm walking through the tent where everyone's sitting down eating, fried kielbasa or whatever crazy stuff that they're eating that day. And some random guy sitting at the table, just I don't know how many he had that day. We're at a beer festival. He just goes, hey you, hey you. I turn and look at him, and he goes, peace among worlds, and flips me off.
Nice.
And I laughed.
That's great.
And, I laughed,
right.
And I flip him off right back, and I say, peace among worlds, buddy. We keep going.
That's great.
It's weird how people get caught up in ideas. I have no reason to believe that guy is into role-playing or anything like that. He just, for one reason or another, suddenly he lived in the universe of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, no. Well,
at least a particular microverse.
If you were gonna live in any particular moment, that's an awesome moment to live in right there. All he was probably missing was the antenna with the ball on the top, which they stopped selling in the late '80s.
Or perhaps a slow ramp.
a very slow ramp.
Too fast.
They love the slow ramp.
All right, let's bring it back around to Shannon, perhaps.
Hi, Shannon.
A novel idea.
Welcome to our podcast.
Let's talk to our guest. So, besides cosplaying and LARPing, which we've touched on, some more than others, I know that you have some video gaming that you do, but particularly when you were younger, didn't you spend a lot of your video game experience with your brothers?
Yes, I spent a lot of video game time with my brother Jared. My brother Gary lived with his mom. We had N64, we had Sega Genesis, we had a crap ton of games for them. For example, one of my first gaming experiences was Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis, which I still own.
Mortal Kombat! I'm sorry, every time I hear Mortal Kombat, I gotta do that.
I have Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3.
About it more.
Hey, are you digging on the smooth sounds of Old Man and Skinny Guy? Look, what I'm really asking you is, do you like what you hear? If you like what you hear, become a patron. You can go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/oldmanskinnyguy and find all these nifty rewards that only you can get as a patron. You'll get access to all of our episodes and any bonus materials earlier than when they're scheduled to drop. You'll also get some sneak peeks at some artwork and video that Skinny Guy and I are putting together. And let's face it, that contribution also helps us to stay sustainable. All we're looking to do is to keep providing an avenue for the gaming community and also entertainment as well. So again, If you like what you hear, become a patron today at www.patreon.com/oldmanskinnyguy. And now, back to the show.
Please go on. Please continue.
I have Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 still, and my Sega Genesis still works. And I play it sometimes.
So I have to ask, as a younger sibling myself, how did that first Mortal Kombat experience go for you? Because I imagine one of the two of you had
Stop
a
crying.
little bit more
Stop
experience than
crying.
the other.
Stop crying.
I was like 4 or 5. I don't really remember it.
That's awesome.
So there was a lot of crying involved,
Probably.
right?
Though I'm not a sore loser. I've never really been a sore loser because I have older brothers.
Dude,
Okay.
it trains it out of you.
It does.
Or at least, like, you can still be a sore loser, but you just learn to not let them get the gratification of it.
Wow.
Some-
Oh, yeah. You can still be real salty, but not let someone be satisfied about it.
But sometimes, like, growing up, I would just watch my brother Jared play, like, Resident Evil, which is why I think I don't really have, like, a taste for horror anything. I don't really get jump scared or anything along those lines. I think from watching him play so much Resident Evil, he played every single one of them. But I was basically like my brother's little game shark. So we'd be playing like Crash Bandicoot, the first one, and there's different codes to get into different levels, and I had all of them memorized. So Jared would come up to me like, "Hey, sis, like, what's the code for this one? Oh, it's this, this, and this." And he's like, "Sweet, thank you."
I was actually going to ask if that was a direct reference to the Game Shark, and yes, clearly it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were basically not exactly playing the game, but kind of involved regardless.
Yeah, until I got older.
One of my friends growing up that was, in my neighborhood, anytime that we would like be hanging out and he would get like a JRPG or something like that, it's like a one-player big long game, he was always the pilot. Or whoever owned it was, I should say, is always the pilot, but more often we hung out at his house. So I would more or less just watch, or hang out and make comments like, I think you should do this kind of stuff. And that's probably why I'm one of those people that really jumped on watching streamers, like video game streamers.
It's so cathartic.
Dude, it's like a weirdly
Let me tell
satisfying
you,
thing to
that
watch
is
for
that
me.
is the one thing for me that is just, it's the most difficult thing. Like, I've tried watching the streamers, and it's so difficult for me.
Like a Metroid race on.
Yeah, and
before we started recording,
and it's so hard because then the minute I see something like that going on, I was like, oh no, now I have to go play this. Like, I can't sit here and watch someone play. I have to be the one playing.
So you're gonna go home and start scouring the internet for Metroid?
No, I'm gonna go home and play TF2.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, like right now I would classify myself as a casual gamer. Like I'm not, super competitive. I'm not out there trying to be the best in anything. Like, I started out on, Genesis and N64. I think the first game that I ever completed by myself was A Link to the Past.
Nice.
The
A
Legend of
game I've
Zelda.
never
Okay,
played.
yeah.
And then one of my other favorite games ever that I played for PS1 a million times is a kind of like unknown game called The Legend of Dragoon. It came out.
That was a popular game when it came out.
It was overshadowed by Final Fantasy VII when it first came out.
Oh, you know what? Actually, what I was thinking of was
I've
Panzer.
played Final Fantasy VII. Finally, a game I know.
I have not played it.
I played
Internet
the first
be
disc.
outraged.
Donna and I were amazing chocobo farmers.
Yeah,
Also, real
Chocobo.
fast, I think the popular game that I was actually thinking of was not Legend of Dragoon, but it was Panzer Dragoon. Or at least that was a game that my friend had. You were like a dragon rider or something.
Okay.
And
But,
when
but real fast, so you called yourself a casual gamer, but you're not exactly a beginner. You've got a breadth of experience in a whole bunch of different styles of gaming. I would hazard to put you on our level as
Intermediate, maybe?
intermediate.
Yeah.
I mean, casual gaming in the sense of I like time-wasting games, like Stardew Valley, farming stuff, going through completing tasks, playing The Sims forever, designing houses, designing people. I don't light people on fire, though, or make them die on purpose. I actually have them run through lives. If they light things on fire and die themselves, that's their own fault.
You don't actually like put them in the bathroom without a toilet and then make the walls with no
No.
doors?
Yeah, just delete the
So
door.
one time when I first got one of the Sims games for the computer PC, like forever ago, I put it in a pool and they went swimming. And I'm like, why aren't they getting out of the pool? I don't understand. Like, they can just like get out of here. And I ended up drowning two of my Sims because I forgot that you have to buy a ladder to put in for them to get out. And I felt so bad about it. And my other Sims kept getting haunted, and it was awful.
Nice. It's like, here's this wonderful pool for you all to enjoy swimming in.
Yeah,
now die.
It's like the role-playing gray area between, like, you know, having, like, action figure play sets or a dollhouse or something, and, like, a full-on role-playing game where
The Sims were
playing
very
The
much...
Sims and you like are invested in your Sims.
You want to talk about the weirdest Sim game that I have ever played? It is called The Movies. All right, it's a very obscure game. I loved the shit out of this game.
Is this the game where you are developing a movie lot and then you're putting together...
Yes.
I have seen it on stream.
I've played this game. You can actually... So, yeah, it is very much just... You hire movie actors. You hire cameramen.
It's almost a similar system to the Plotagon stuff that we've done.
Yes.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker, is while you have these Sims running all of these things, and they're in there, you can actually make them make movies that you can actually download yourself, and there's no real dialogue. It's Sim talking, right? So it's like you can make a sci-fi movie with all of these, and they go,
and a shocked reaction.
Yeah.
A mysterious figure appears.
Yeah, but as you get more money, you get better costuming for them for the movies. You get better backdrop. It was a lot of fun, but that is the weirdest Sim game I have ever played.
Yeah, because it also has all those Sims elements of, like, you have to keep your actors, like, happy and like, productive.
You have to get them a really good trailer. If another actor has a better trailer than them, they're sad and their happiness goes down.
Oh, they don't want to work for you anymore because your hair and makeup building is not good enough.
If they're 70 years old and they're not really relevant anymore, they can get drunk and you have to send them to rehab. You actually have to build a rehab place,
or maybe your actors are just unhappy and you need to build an exclusive bar on the lot.
Oh yeah,
this game sounds awesome. I would play this.
And then
it came out a number of years ago.
Yeah, and then the other one was also the Plastic Surgeon.
You could probably find it on Steam, right?
I don't know if you can find it on Steam. I don't know. But then I bought the expansion pack for it, which was the Stuntman, which was it was great.
Are you literally just, in the way you were making movies before, just doing ridiculous, like, action stunts?
Well, no, it didn't have, like, stunts for them to do.
Okay.
Like, it would just be
That's
people
kind of a letdown.
Yeah, it would be people talking or driving a car or running somewhere. It was never any stunts. But then when you got
a lot of explosions behind people,
right? But when you got the stuntmen, it was literally like, okay, now you can add these scenes to the movie where it's like, oh, dude flying through the air, or just crazy stuff.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So
one of the games that I'm currently into, which the Skinny Guy and I play a lot of, is Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which got old man to play for about 3 days when the
when it was
came
free, and all I will ever play is Turret Guy.
Yeah.
You mean Sniper Lady?
No,
Turret Guy. Small Swedish.
Torbjorn.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, you were really behind the idea of playing the sniper character Widowmaker.
Yeah,
initially.
Until I realized how fucking difficult it was to
Yeah.
actually play the sniper.
There's a reason
class.
I don't play the sniper lady, because she's really
And-
hard.
And you named Poncho Man.
Oh yeah, Poncho Man. Yeah.
Yes.
McCree.
McCree will forever be known as Poncho Man.
Poncho Man.
When Skinny Guy and I were playing the other evening, we were referring to McCree as Poncho Man quite often.
Well, that was
It's just a better name.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was like, yeah, I'm just scrolling through the characters. Like, okay, there's Skullface, there's Poncho Guy, there's Tiny Dude with Turret. Okay, there's Pale Woman. Oh, that's a sniper. Okay, good. Just going through it, it was like Spider Lady. You know me. I see a descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I go with.
Poncho Man's my favorite, though.
Poncho Man.
That's just what he says. That's his catchphrase. There's no other catchphrase that's relevant to that character.
Going back to cosplayers for a minute, when Skinny Guy and I were at Zenkaikon, there were a few different Overwatch cosplayers that were down there. And McCree's line for when he does his ult is, "It's high noon," as the
I was
McCree...
really hoping you would just casually replace it with Poncho Man.
You can laugh. It's all right.
So Poncho Man comes through, and I'm like, "Hey, McCree, what time is it?" And he looks at me and he goes, about 4:30. I'm like, no, you ruined it.
No, that's the perfect answer.
Yeah,
I'd be
you
like-
know he did that all
I know
day.
he did it intentionally.
He's
But
like,
it's like,
it's
yeah.
5:15. You guys should really get going.
So I hope you don't have a reservation.
But it was pretty great.
That's funny. That's really
Is your
good.
meter running out? Get there.
Yeah, there's some amazing Overwatch
Just like
cosplayers.
casually concerned Poncho Man. Like,
Ooh, going back to cosplayers and speaking of Overwatch.
Yes.
So I just got very excited because I remember I just saw this. There's a character, as we're recording right now, that hasn't hit Overwatch yet by the name of Doomfist.
Doomfist. Yes.
And Anime Expo is going on over in San Diego right now. They
Actually, it's Comic-Con.
it's Comic-Con right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. SDC is Comic-Con.
Well, San Diego Comic-Con's going on. Blizzard hires cosplayers. They give them the specs and everything before the characters come out so they can have people to show off the characters at these large conventions.
Right.
And someone had given the specs to this guy for Doomfist. He made this amazing, gigantic, and it looks exactly like metal. I don't know what it's made out of. Probably Warbla, which is like a plastic that you can like heat up and mold the way you want it to.
Right.
But I think he had a rig inside of it because like his arm stopped here, but the fist went all the way out to here. So it was massive.
So because
Because
this
this is
doesn't
an
Yeah, on
audio
radio.
format.
Yeah. So what she's actually saying is the arm itself extended way past
The reach of his hand.
The real hand.
But
Yeah.
I think he had one of those devices attached to his hand where if he moved his hand, the gigantic hand would move.
Oh, that's cool.
So one of those rigs. And he looked amazing.
Yeah.
I believe, prior to recording, I'm scrolling through Facebook on my phone. I saw a clip that I think showed him.
Oh my god, he's so amazing.
It looked really, really good.
Yeah, we'll see if we can find it, and we'll put that on
We're never
there.
gonna find it. Now.
We'll find it.
I believe in us.
Yes, I believe in me too.
Yeah,
I don't believe in you as much as you believe in me. It's just an odd dynamic that we have where you believe in me, but I just shake my head at you consistently.
Yeah. Well, you're the one that's actually going to do the work, so
This is very
the
true.
belief is on the right side.
Like, the one thing I really love is for my cosplay life, like the cosplay stuff that I love to do.
Right.
All other parts of my life except LARPing fits into that. So like any kind of anime, video games, or anything can be found in the LARPing community, in the cosplay community. Sorry. Whereas LARPing's kind of its own entity.
But weren't you telling me earlier that there are LARPs at cosplay conventions?
There are different kinds of LARPs. You dress up as the person you're cosplaying as, and you don't really have a storyline that you're going off of. Like some LARPs are like you go out and do like a scavenger hunt to find other cosplayers and that sort of thing. That's what they mean by convention
Okay.
LARPing. Whereas our kind of LARPing is, you set up a storyline, you play through that storyline, you make your own characters.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I know that there's other sort of live games that I have heard tell of or seen or what have you, where there's like, at cosplay conventions this is, where it's various characters play sort of a living chess sort of thing.
Yes, they do that as well.
That's more or less, what's that card game you have? Is it Super Fight?
Oh yeah, super fight.
Where the whole premise of Super Fight is just whoever can make the better argument to the judges is who's going to
Yeah,
win.
you pick out the person that you're playing or the
Yeah, you get cards that tell you what the scenario is and who you're representing.
right, and the weird weapons that you would use in that.
Two cosplayers as their characters, will face off, and then they'll sort of have like a, super fight-esque back and forth to decide who wins.
Right. I mean, yeah, but that's with cosplay, there's going to be a lot of different. I would assume different aspects like LARP and Pokemon. I think you guys said that you were on a Pokemon panel, or you went to a Pokemon
We
panel.
went to a Pokemon panel at Zenkaikon.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't about role-playing. It was just more about like history and the lore of where, various Pokemon had come from.
Yeah, like the mythos behind it.
Oh, like the Chinese demons, or the Asian demons, or animals
like
and stuff
which
like that.
things came from Oni and like what are the crows or whatever,
Oh, the Tengu.
the Tengu,
Yeah.
and things like that. Yeah.
They went over the lore and mythos of Magikarp and Gyarados, which is also pretty cool.
Okay.
But you were also telling us off mic about like a dating game.
Yes, there's cosplay dating games where it's set up like the 70s style show, which is like
Yeah.
Yes,
All right, got
exactly.
there.
And then let's give Shannon a big dating game kiss. Mwah!
Yes, it's exactly like that.
Okay.
So are all parties that are playing, like the person who's asking the panel of 3 potentials, they're in cosplay as that character, or?
Yes, and they answer in character
Yeah.
to the best of their abilities.
That sounds like you get various levels of hilarious depending on who's being cosplayed.
Yes.
I would totally be the host of that show. I'd have to be the host of that show.
No, you wouldn't want to be a contestant?
No, because then, the audience members would be calling the police or a health professional, because whatever the hell I'd be doing up on that stage would be extremely disturbing, to say the least. It's like, yes, I would like to eat cherries off of your latex outfit. And
Too much detail.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I would be better off as the host asking the ridiculous questions.
Who would you cosplay as if you had the opportunity?
Ooh, good question.
I mean, not to put you immediately on the spot.
But to put me immediately on the spot, I don't know.
Regardless of how much effort it would take to get the costume or the makeup together, like what character would you like to go out there as?
Initially I'd probably have to say Jake Blues.
I was about to say.
Yeah, from the Blues Brothers. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
All right, good.
All right, Skinny Guys, same question. Who would you want to cosplay as?
I don't even know. Like, we've talked about potential cosplays for me before, but I don't know. Who would I really want to dress up as and just have silly fun? I don't know, maybe, like, for Halloween one year, I did dress up as Shipwreck. And
Nice.
That went pretty well. And if I could do a full-on Shipwreck, that would be pretty solid.
So do you think...
I would need some kind of parrot, though.
Okay, so do you think the next step would be shore leave? Yeah,
Shore leave is all yours.
Yeah. Are you familiar with shore leave?
For all the listeners, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Okay, so
Shipwreck is from G.I. Joe.
right.
No? You don't,
Before my time.
You don't? Oh, wow.
Oh, get off my lawn.
Hold on. I've showed you at least the clip of Cold Slither, right?
Yes, I believe you
where
have.
the Dreadnoughts make a rock band. Yeah.
Okay.
Which has nothing to do with Shipwreck.
No, but it has to do with G.I. Joe.
Okay. But you are familiar with the concept of the cartoon known as G.I.
Yes,
Joe?
yes, I am.
Okay.
So
My brothers grew up in the 80s, so
Yeah,
I'm familiar.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Venture Brothers have sort of like parody characters, and one of them is Shore Leave, and it's supposed to be like the ridiculous Venture Brothers equivalent of Shipwreck. All right, so anyway,
Moving on.
or perhaps rounding this out. Is there anything else, Shannon, that you want to talk about?
So, while we're all talking, the fun and, everything of, cosplay and LARPing, etc., I want to bring up a rather heavy topic
Okay.
to, help round this out, I guess. When I was 16 or 17, I was at a convention, and there was a cosplayer cosplaying as Moroku, who's a lecherous monk from Inuyasha. Well, I got a picture with this guy, and without him asking my consent, he ended up grabbing me on my butt.
Okay.
Just gigantic handful, yeah.
Okay.
It was really weird and very awkward, and I hurried away from that situation as fast as possible.
Yeah, and this guy thought that this was an okay thing to do because he's just cosplaying this character, acting like this character, but in reality, he's at a convention with other people, and you don't get to just sort of ignore common decency just because, I'm this guy, I'm not actually me right now, he would do it. It's just sort of that, giving themselves permission where that's not okay.
It's not acceptable at all, ever.
Right, but I, with that, unfortunately, in most things, whether it be LARP or cosplay, you find jackasses like that. Would you categorize that as that being the norm, or is that the exception, or...
Personally, that's the only kind of harassment that I've ever come across for myself at conventions. I've heard many other stories of many other people dealing with much worse harassment, which is why there's a movement now called Cosplay is Not Consent.
Right.
So anyone who's wearing, sort of revealing cosplays because of the characters, it's not acceptable. They're not giving people permission to come up and, grope at them or whatever because they're wearing this outfit.
Right. Well, that's that's kind of what I was trying to get at, which is... there's an outcry from the majority of people who know that this is exactly that, cosplay is not consent, that's wrong. And if it wasn't that was the majority, then I don't think any like those kind of because this is happening at almost every convention now, where you have the posters and the banners of cosplay is not consent, and a lot of these venues will actually get they'll actually escort someone out of the convention.
Yeah, rightly so.
And that exactly.
Comic-Con is going on right now as we're recording this, and I believe last year was it Comic-Con that actually had put up information about cosplay is not consent.
I believe so. I think it was New York Comic-Con.
New York Comic-Con is where it was.
Okay.
Yeah, because San Diego Comic-Con is going on right now, but I haven't had a chance to follow up. I've seen a couple of things, images of cosplays and things that are looking amazing from Comic-Con.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I get a lot of people that put a lot of time and effort in.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the other thing is it. But what I again just going back, my whole thing is that the positives, the positive part of the community is
taking corrective action.
Exactly, because let's face it, when you have a venue and they're making money off of something, they're not going to change something unless there's an outcry, unless not just an outcry, but there's a possibility of money going away. And so when you have a lot of a lot of the community come out and say, listen, we don't approve of this needs to change. If you don't change, we're not going to come to your venue anymore. That's the power of the community.
Yeah, and I think to the credit of a lot of these conventions, it was sort of an understood thing for a while that this would go on, and then there was, like we're talking about, a real outcry from the community to fix it. And I know that I started seeing, when I would look at information for conventions, just the various policies that they would have about, behavior and all that kind of stuff. Everything from, like, you can't have a sign that says free hugs, just because,
right.
Like, that's also not cool.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the best things I've seen in the last couple of years to change at these conventions.
I agree.
Cosplay is not consent.
Yeah, and to make it clearer to people who are maybe brand new and don't understand what the rules are, that it's like, yeah, if you want a picture with someone, they're probably totally okay with it. Just ask them.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they're not okay with it, then don't take the photo. Move on.
Yeah, exactly. To finish up this wonderful interview that you have graced us with, what kind of advice would you give to someone who was kind of in your position? Like, say, before you knew anything about cosplay and you actually went to your first event, like what kind of advice would you give to somebody?
If you really love something and you feel like your personality is going to get involved in that, maybe an introvert, for example, don't let that stop you from doing something that you think that you'll love. Like, you may go out, you may find that you very much love it like I did and want to continue, or you may find out maybe it's not your thing, and that's okay too. But, just give something to try.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Get out there, meet people, see what other people are doing in that community.
Yeah, let your nerd flag fly, as they say.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You hear that, Kevin? All right. Make sure that your nerd flag is flying, because if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah, and you never know, maybe the actual, in the case of going to a cosplay convention, maybe you decide you don't actually like wearing an elaborate and potentially very uncomfortable costume, but maybe you're a fan of photography and you're a fan of all these characters. Maybe you want to go and just, meet some of these creators and the people that are putting all this effort in and show them your support. Show them that you're interested and you appreciate the work that they've done.
And there's also many panels where you can go to see voice actors, and you can watch different animes that they have up on screens. And there's much more to conventions than just cosplaying. I go for the cosplay, but other people go for other things. Like the dealer's room, for example. There's a lot of cool stuff in the dealer's room.
Yeah, or just getting to meet up with people I don't get to see very often, and go out to lunch with a bunch of people in ridiculous video game character costumes and cartoon character costumes.
I think that's the funniest thing, when we actually go out in costume to watch the servers kind of like don't know how to deal with us.
Yeah.
And when we actually talk and act like normal people, they are pleasantly surprised.
For example, during Zenkaikon, we went out to a place down in Lancaster to eat, and me and this other girl went up to the restroom together, and there was a private party going on the top floor where the restrooms were. And this lady had come into the bathroom, and she was like, made a very surprised sound when she saw me and my friend. And she just politely asked us what was going on, and we politely told her what was going on. Like, when there's quote-unquote normies out there that have no idea what's going on in your life, why you're dressed as this, don't be a jerk to them. Just politely explain what's going on.
Yeah, especially if they're not being a jerk to you.
Wait, I have a quick question. So you call them normies?
Yes.
Okay, because I would call them Danes, which is like short for mundane.
I think I would probably... I'm surprised you're, Shannon, not the one that would refer to them as muggles.
Depends on the situation.
Okay, that's fair. I guess that's just like what we called them in the 1400s. Was just the mundanes, the Danes.
Yeah, back when nerding started for the very first time.
many years ago, yes. Okay, so thank you very much for sitting down and bullshitting with us. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
thank you for being on. We'll see if we can get maybe some of the pictures of you in the Pearl cosplay, and maybe some of the other things that you've cosplayed if you're interested in putting them up.
Of course.
Yeah, we'd love to put them up on our website and the Facebook and everything.
I do enjoy showing off my photos of my cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right, so thank you for being here, Kevin. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. And with that, we've been Old Man Skinny Guy with special guest Shannon.
I'm Old Man.
I'm Skinny Guy. We'll catch you next time.
Take care.